reason I got the first world record was just berserk rolling, and how they were doing Assassin Rush roll the whole game, and as you know probably from watching runs, like you can't Assassin Rush all the time. You'll back rush towards a mob, and so they're just rolling. And so there's a huge amount of dead space in the run where you're just doing rolls, and for some reason, I guess nobody saw yet that it's like, oh, Berserk makes you roll like twice as fast.
Yeah.
Especially early game. When you get max speed, it's not that big of a difference. And so I just started using Berserk, and then I don't think the will potion route changed around that at all. I think we had enough will potions to just do it. For a while when we were first getting used to using that much like mana, we would occasionally run out of potions by the end of the run.
So when you started the summon clipping was in the route, because I know that Giant Steps did it for the cliffside path.
Yeah, I do remember that. He was the first one who was just like, yeah, I like doing this route. I just kind of prefer it. And it's like, this saves so much time. Especially when because I think that was the only time we were clipping. So what happened we would clip in there, but we were still looting the bandit gear.
Yeah, which is weird to me. But it's just, in hindsight, I've only ever seen the game where it is pretty much now, right? So it's weird to me to seeing like, why aren't you guys doing the very obvious thing? It's like, that wasn't obvious back then. It couldn't have been.
Right. It wasn't until we were like, this must have more applications, that we just started trying it on everything. We realized every gate in Bandit is clippable, and that you didn't basically need to do any part of that quest the way you're meant to.
Yeah.
Just funny. And then all the clips kind of sprawled out from there. It was, I don't know if the clip is somewhere. I don't know if you've seen it, of us doing a race. It's me, Giant, and Edom doing a race, I'm pretty sure. And it was back when I think I got last in that race. Like it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And we're doing Archaeologist 2, and he runs up to where barrier clip is now done.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a thing. And so he's just like, I'm just going to try this once. And he just like runs up face first into the barrier and just clips through it first try. And hence barrier clip was born. It's just like the swaggiest fucking clip.
I need to find that.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's ridiculous. And he's just like, I clipped through the barrier. And I'm like, wait, whoa. That's cool.
Oh, what? In it?
Yeah.
That's my Edom impersonation.
That's good.
I was told that was Valiant North who found the barrier clip. I honestly don't know who that is.
I didn't. The first time I knew about it being done was.
You said Giant
Valiant
Steps.
North found, Giant Steps. Valiant North found early sort of Aeons clip.
Okay.
I don't know if he found barrier clip or not, but maybe Giant knew about it before, but he hadn't spoken of it. But
interesting. Okay, I'll investigate.
Yeah. Because I don't think Edom knew about it either until just in the middle of the race, Giant just pulled it off. But I could be totally wrong. It was my experience. I didn't know about it till he did it. So
interesting. Do you know who?
Go back to
do you know who it was?
And look at some videos.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Do you know who it was who started played around with the bandit clipping stuff? Because you can clip through all the doors there. But
man,
I need to double check and see when I first start seeing that. Because the first run in 2015 is the first time I see summon clipping, and I think I only watched like the first 2 or 3 world records of yours.
Are you, the 2015 one, is that the old PB one, like the first run I have on my channel?
Probably the February 16, the 132.29.
Oh no, okay. I'm looking at the 135.14. It was like my first legitimate completed run.
No, I didn't look at any of your. I didn't look at all your PBs. I just looked at the world records, which is actually most of your PBs.
No, it looks like. Okay, yeah. In my first run ever, I'm not clipping through anything except the first gate. So, all the door. You said all. I'm clipping through everything in the first world record one.
No. Just the first one. I need to find out where that starts. Because I don't know where that which record is the first one to start doing it. I'm not sure if you remember either.
To start doing all the doors?
Yeah. Like, do you know like when that was found?
God, I kind of do, because I remember. I mean, I think I was involved in testing a lot of that stuff. I'd have to find it, because I think it was just me. Maybe Giant was testing it as well at that point.
Mm-hmm.
God, I honestly don't remember exactly who, because I feel like it might have just been a joint effort between all of us. Like, as soon as we realized, once the run got going, especially, we were all just trying summon clipping everywhere. God, I'd have to find it.
Before we go any further,
remember who.
Before we go any further, I thought I'd mention: is it okay if I record this conversation at all?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, cool. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Should I not swear?
I don't fucking care,
right.
dude.
Okay. Cool.
But just my point is that, yeah, I don't want to censor it anyway, but I thought I'd mention, hey, by the way.
Oh yeah,
might record it.
So it looks like 131.35. I mean, the closest world record to the Summon Clips video, I would imagine it's got to be close, right? Let's see.
You had a world record a day for 3 days in February.
Dude, it was insane. It was insane.
So I guess tell me about that. So you just picked up the game and you just started taking the world records. Like, did you just love it that much? You were just that invested?
I think there was just I don't want to say like a lack of testing or a lack of game knowledge, because I don't know that much about the game. I just play it really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Edom obviously is one of the pioneers of it, but and I think it was maybe a little bit controversial to a couple people, the fact that I just kind of stole world record by basically berserk rolling and maybe not necessarily doing every little bit of the game as good as Edom or Giant Steps. Just berserk rolling was just so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore the world record wasn't that huge, but it was something. And then I started getting the movement of every single map down. I started recognizing the patterns, when you can rush, when you can't, minimizing any mistakes in the movement, because really at the core of the game is the movement, every map, and the menuing. And so it's mostly movement.
Mm-hmm.
Fights or whatever, and we've optimized the fights a little bit too, but the optimized fights are, to my recollection, have never been more than like 15 seconds of time save, maybe optimizing something here or there. But if you can optimize your maps, that's like minutes off the run. And so I think it was just a process of that, me being more fluid, bonking less. I mean, the Fable bonk is more just like you get glued to a wall or whatever. But
right, I see you try to bonking, roll past benches and just get stuck.
Mm-hmm. And then that just started happening less and less. My menuing started to get better and better, and those two core fundamental things, it's just I had the framework down, and then I just started polishing and polishing and polishing, and now it's like, even when I do runs now, it's hard to not lose time, just because if one enemy is slightly out of place, that causes you not to be able to assassin rush or assassin rush in a non-optimal direction. That's like multiple seconds gone, just chunk by chunk.
I had a question and I forgot what I was going to ask. Oh no, I was going to just mention that, like in Giant Steps video, he mentioned that like Edom is the smart. He's the guy, the route guy. Like he's the guy who thinks about the information and how to display it. And then like everybody else is the people who are like the good people at running it. They're the ones who can actually execute all that stuff.
I mean, Edom knows everything about this game, yeah. And
he really does.
Most of my knowledge comes from just playing it as a kid.
Right, same.
Yeah, and Okay, so it looks like I'm summon clip. Oh no, I'm not. So it's between the February 23rd, 2015 and uh February 27th. At some point is when we started working on and integrating the full bandit clips into the route.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty narrow date, 23rd to 27th, somewhere.
Yeah, so that's actually it's good. It's a good point to start looking. I don't know if I'll find anything specifically about that.
No, Adam might remember.
Might remember some notes.
Us working on stuff, yeah, because there was a time where we were all in calls together. I remember Adam and I sitting down for a good chunk of time, a few hours at least, doing prison. Okay, that's miserable enough. Just doing prison with every language pack just to see what was fastest. And then we found French.
Oh, wow. Were there any other ones that were notable?
The most notable thing was that Japanese was actually one of the slowest, which is just contradictory because most games it's like Japanese is fastest, but it's not text-based is why. So the Japanese dialogue is actually spoken more elongated and slowly than the French dialogue. So it's a weird backwards to what runs typically are, which is what speaks the fastest.
Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like I knew that. Like I remember hearing that trivia at some point, but I'd forgotten.
Probably.
So like all the other languages are about the same, I think.
Yeah, some were a little bit slower than English, some were faster, but nothing close to French. And for all I know, there may be like lines just totally not there in French, which causes the sequence to play out faster. I have no idea.
Fair enough. Have y'all investigated like the rest of the run with different languages?
Not really, as the only other spoken dialogue that's not really skippable is in Arena in the first like 3 waves when you have to hear the guy go like, "That's another 100 gold."
Oh yeah.
but that's not very long anyway, and I don't think that much different than the English length. And that's the only other instance of time where we can't skip something, really.
Right.
I mean, that's dictated by language.
Okay. So before you had done Fable speedruns, had you done any speedrunning before?
Yeah, I did. I started with Mickey Mania for the Sega Genesis.
Did I know that?
One of my favorite games. There's a run of me being really cringy and salty on the YouTube. So it's 3 years ago? I can't believe that's 3 years.
That was right at 2015, right before you started.
Yeah, October 1st, 2014. Unreal. That game's hard, and the actual legitimate runs are done on SNES. So I eventually went over to SNES. I just picked Genesis because I played it as a kid. I didn't have a SNES. And then I learned Super Meat Boy, any percent. And I started running that on Xbox, and I have a few runs of that as well. I tried Dark Souls 1 here and there, but I didn't even want to like risk ruining my favorite game of all time with a speedrun. And so I kind of gave up on that.
That's fair.
Did I have any other times? Mickey Mania. Oh, Mario 64. Yeah, but I think that may have occurred. I may have started Mario 64 a bit after I started Fable. I don't remember when. I think it was after, because I was running it on Wii U Virtual Console. 16 star. And I ended up getting sub 20, which was like totally fine for me. That's a pretty good benchmark.
Yeah, sub 2016 is pretty good.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who just got, I think it was 18 minutes or sub 18 minutes.
Oof. Yeah, the 18 is rough. And plus I'm just using some suboptimal stats, and that's where when you get to that range, that starts to matter. But I'm just not good enough at that game. It's really hard. And I think that's pretty much.
Oh yeah, he just got 1745. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we're very proud of him. He's a cool guy. Let's see. I'm trying to think. So, I guess you really just dove in like that first month or so that you started. Because like if you look at the chart, you start on February 7th, and by March 7th the next month, you've already dropped it 8 minutes.
Good lord.
And then by the end of June, it's already down 10 minutes from that start of that. Like I think that's crazy. That you just, I guess you just have the resolve to just sit there and do it all. But
Yeah, and
do you think you're just motivated because it was new, or?
Plus, I was just making progress. I mean, that's motivating enough. Is like, I don't even remember how and in what areas I was making progress each run. I'd be curious to go back and look at each of these VODs and look at what the splits look like and where I'm saving the bulk of time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that maze was big to get down. If I got a run with a good maze like early on, because that's like one of the hardest fights,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's like a free 30 seconds if I get a good maze. Arena, obviously, the arena is still being improved. Like,
it seems the most volatile part of the entire run.
It's crazy. If like I haven't run that much lately, but I'm gonna get back into Lost Chapters. If it's like there can still be progress made on it, and every time I do a better one, I'm like, there's no possible way there could be a better arena than this, and then I get another gold, or someone gets another gold, and then we've just figured out. Oh, we figured out a while ago, but just now, like Clean's starting to apply it. I'm gonna mess with it too. Is talking to Whisper to cancel your berserk to get out of it, because talking to her will like just pull you out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Recasting it so that you're in control of your timer. That's a big thing. You don't want to like fade out of berserk mid wave of an enemy. It's obnoxious. And then you pop it, and then you stand in the spinning blades and just eat hits from it with your physical shield on, which increases your damage dealt. If you take hits in berserk, you do more damage. And so like that's a super top level strat that's starting to emerge for arena, where we can start to manipulate our berserk timers and increase the damage we do like on a per enemy wave basis, and it's gonna get even more insane.
I remember hearing about that. I remember, I think I didn't see about it. I forgot because I remember I see like I've been watching Clean recently, and Clean has been standing in the spinny blade. I'm like, what is he doing? You're just wasting your physical shield. But I forget that that's how that works, which is sick. It's sick that there's a lot of just so many optimizations.
Definitely, and it's cool that strats like that start to emerge. Like I said early on, there was a restriction on sort of will potions. It was a risky thing to use a bunch, but now we've become so optimal with our movement and our fights that we usually end with will potions to spare. So now strats like that, where we just dump our willpower, it's become viable because we have the potions to spare. It's cool.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Clean getting really, really, really close to your time?
I'm excited. I think it would be super cool for him to get it. And if anything, it's motivating to get back and run it, because it's not the most fun game to run. It's very stressful.
I can attest to that. It is very stressful.
Right. And which is why I've always tried to be encouraging towards people not giving up on it, actually, because it's even more stressful if you're just grinding your own time over and over again, and you're like, why the hell am I doing this? And then you become complacent with the progress you've made. So the rivalry is very, very good and healthy for the run and healthy for the community. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely.
I think I'd like to get a run in 2, hopefully. Doesn't matter before or after he gets world record, because he's gonna get it, because there's a good 20 to 30 seconds that's just free for me based on new strats that he and Edom have been working on, new discoveries. Plus, Edom and I discovered the puzzle punching, which is like probably the most interesting strat in the entire game, and I don't even have that in my Lost Chapters world record for some reason. So that's another free like 9 to 11 seconds. So I got to get back on it.
I hear you. I saw you were streaming earlier today. Well, obviously I was there. I chatted, but
and I didn't get past White Ballerine.
Damn.
All the hours. Yeah.
Did it ever come back up? Like did you like reinstall it? I guess.
Today?
Yeah, because you like cut stream or you stopped. Whenever I was there, you were like, "Hey, I gotta like restart or something because the frame rate's really bad in the menus." I think.
Yeah, I reinstalled the game and then I'm running it in XP Service Pack 3 compatibility mode because Windows 10's trash. Windows 10 is trash. Yeah, I said that right.
You're right.
And also disable full screen optimizations, a bunch of dumb settings to just get the lag to go down. But it's still not perfect. For some reason my leveling up screens are like ungodly amounts of slow, and that's like 5 to 10 seconds I'll lose whenever I try to buy spells. Unless I fix that. I don't know what to do about it.
Cool.
Didn't used to happen. I don't know what the deal is.
It is weird, but then again, Fable is weird, so
It's a mess.
So you had never really watched Edom or Blasted T do any runs, did you?
Not early on. I knew that I wanted to run it. I was either going to run that or I was going to run Oblivion when I first started. And I was like, I'm just going to run. I remember saying it. I was like, I'm going to run this game first. And I played it, and then I watched Giant Steps run to learn it. He popped into chat. Edom ended up popping into chat either that first day or later on, and then that's how I found out about him. And I don't even think I learned about Blasted for a while. In fact, I don't even know how long Blasted has been running.
Blasted, it was the first world record holder back in 2014.
Right. And then Giant, did Edom take it from Blasted or did Giant take it from Blasted? Did Giant take it from Edom?
So if we start back at the beginning, like in 2010, we have David Arnold, who did that one run in 2010, and then nobody ran it for a while. I think Blasted T got a couple of PBs that were close, and then he finally was able to beat the world record, and then he kind of pushed it down for a while, and then Edom kind of popped up, and they started battling it out back and forth. There's a bunch of world records in that first drop, where you see from 2014 to the end of it's all 2014. It's kind of cool. All over the place. It's just Blasted T, Edom, Blasted T, Edom, Blasted T, Edom, Blasted, Edom, and then Giant Steps, and then all you. But yeah, between the two of them, they ran for a while, just back and forth.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's that big long line. That's just David Arnold, huh?
Yeah.
Fucking legend. I
don't think it was necessarily that his run was so great, but that he no one was really running it. So I don't know where Blasted T came from, but just out of nowhere, they're like, you know what, I'm going to pick up this game. And then they copied the strats and did better.
I like it.
Yeah. What I love about doing these world record videos is that it's interesting to see what the community does know and doesn't know, or like what members of the community are aware of the history and stuff like that. Because I think the history is usually awesome to look at, just because I think history is really fun. Like, I'm a history buff myself, although I don't really care too much for world history that much. But like I love stories and stuff like that. So just being able to see and show the community what their own community is always an interesting thing. Like when I did the Snap video, I showed it to a lot of people, even the world record holders, and the people who had been in the community for years, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that guy. Like, oh, is that where he comes from? Like, I've seen his name all over the place, but I never knew that that's what he was, or who he was, or that he did this run at this time or whatever. And it's just kind of cool to see, see how people react to that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'm not crazy about world history either, but no, I agree totally.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any comments about like the community in general? So who would you say, so from what I can gather myself from what I've run is that, let's say like the pillars of the community seem to be Clean and Edom. Like the two of them are always in other people's chats, always helping out.
Right.
You're helpful too, not to exclude you. but
Okay.
I always see like Edom and Clean.
Yeah, I used to be a lot more active in like anyone's chat streaming Fable. Um, and I think that just comes with a sort of a distancing that I've had from Twitch and not really speedrunning in general, but I mean, other things come around, obviously. I used to be very active in the chats, but then I dropped out a little bit. Um, in fact, there's probably, I don't remember how long the gap was between when I stopped running Lost Chapters and then switched to Anniversary for a bit. I mean, it looks like about a 6-month period between videos, roughly, what I'm looking at. But yeah, no, they are always there. They've probably made the most amount of recent progress with routing and the health of the run, especially for the stuff that, like I said, the time saves that I need to go apply to my run are pretty much entirely them. I'm pretty sure. The most recent thing I worked on was the puzzle punching strat.
Can you explain to me what puzzle
Yeah.
punching is? I think I know, but I want you to just tell me.
Yeah, it's in the, I think it's called the Prophets of the Fireheart. That's what the quest is called, something along those lines. It's like the slide puzzle sort of mini game. Not even slide puzzle. It's tile flipping. You step on a tile, it flips colors. There were optimal routes to solve the puzzles as quickly as possible for a long time, and then we started thinking like, well, maybe this isn't the most optimal route. And then I don't remember who it was in my chat, but we started to go detective mode on it and lay them out in like Microsoft Paint and optimize the route. And then also when you do if you solve it to either suns or moons, it'll give you a different next level sometimes. So maybe solving it and losing a second here to get moons will actually save 3 seconds because the next puzzle's easier to solve, et cetera, et cetera. It gets a little bit complex. But then I don't remember who did it on accident. It was either me or Edom. And we're just mashing to get through the quest dialogue with left click. And there's a period in time, multiple times throughout the game, in between either cutscene and quest dialogue window or quest dialogue window and gameplay, where there's sort of like a black fade out. There's a lot of moments like this where you can perform actions, and apparently they're often not bound by any rules. You're just performing actions while the game's transitioning to a different state. A pretty funny moment like that is when you're getting captured by Jack of Blades in the prison and the first cutscene initiates and it fades to black. Like you can hear your force pushes going off in the background for like a good 4 seconds. But in the case of the puzzle punching, if you execute a punch in that very small time frame, it's actually not bound by the rules of the puzzle quest, which is being locked into the grid system, and you can just like punch and your character model moves forward as if it was just punching, and you kind of move 1.5 tiles forward, and then the AI freaks out because you're not on the grid system, and it corrects you. This makes no sense, but it corrects you like diagonal down to the right, depending on how far you punch, because it's got to stick you somewhere, and so the game decides to put you diagonal down to the right. And what that means is that you can flip the tile above you. So say you're in the bottom left corner and you want to move up, you punch, you flip that first tile, and then you walk down to the right and you flip the tile that was to the right of your starting position, which is otherwise impossible. You get the one above you and the one to the right you at the same time, to the right of you at the same time, which opens up new solutions to the puzzles and saves like 9 seconds in the puzzle quest. It's so wacky.
That is wacky, but that's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
It kind of reminds me of the Banjo Furnace Fun, I think. The one where you take damage, where you're normally supposed to fall into lava, but you can just land on a panel and then you can walk around freely.
Yep. Banjo. That was another one I started to learn, but I didn't finish.
I remember you played on emulator for a while and then you gave up.
It's hard, dude. Maybe I shouldn't have learned 100% first. It's a lot.
There's a lot of stuff to learn. Okay. I don't know if I have anything else to ask you. Can I just get a recap? So, for that first like month or two that you started running, you saved 10 minutes in just like 2 months. So what do you think were the biggest time saves?
Without looking at the splits and just guessing, I would say Arena is a huge one. Trader Escort was probably also huge, considering that one probably fluctuated a lot actually as well, because we had to get the summon creature swapped. We got much more efficient at getting the summon creature transferred. In fact, that split is still a rough spot for that reason. And the movement and optimizing the troll fight at the end, that's a big split, bigger than some people realize. That split, Arena, the general movement across every map. And just to put it kind of into perspective of how important movement is, we messed around a bit with strats that skip the first fishing, which fishes up an Ages of Skill potion. And we're like, can we just cut out that RNG and cut out the whole fishing and be fine? Well, without the Ages of Skill potion, you don't get 1 or 2 levels of speed that you should have, which affects your rolling speed. And I think 2 levels less of speed than we should have accounts for like anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds per screen of just rolling speed. And so you can imagine assassin rushing backwards is even worse. Every screen is crucial, depending on how long the screen is. So that is very, very huge. 1 second, I'm sorry. My bad.
It's all good.
So yeah, the general movement is huge. I'm trying to think of what else. The biggest ones, I think Jack of Blades, possibly. The second one's always been pretty locked down, but the first fight, we've come up with some tricks to get that to work in our favor almost every time. The clips everywhere, barrier clip saves a good chunk of time. Swag clip doesn't really save that much time. That's like a couple seconds. All the summon clipping, that was huge. Like we said, there didn't really start applying the summon clipping, all of the summon clips, until the run was already at like 130 or less. And the menuing, optimizing the menuing, what we need to buy, what we don't.
Right. I think Clean has mentioned that he's cut out slow time entirely.
Yeah, that can definitely save a few seconds. I'm going to work on that.
There was one other thing I was trying to think of.
Oh, a big one. Sorry to interrupt, but a big one is we no longer do the Guildmaster as the final soul that we get.
I was going to ask you about that.
Right, which is a very, very slow, tedious method, and never really had a good, solid strat, which is part of the reason I really didn't like it. Because it also involved getting hit while in Berserk to do enough damage to one-shot the guards, and there was sort of a timing involved with a dialogue track that we started to theorize, well, maybe if there's 3 guards left alive and we kill them all at the same time, maybe that dialogue track won't play and we'll get a little bit of time save. And this is another example of other people's knowledge, like Edam's, being greater than mine. Figured out using a pretty speedy warp method that Nostro is in fact much faster, much more consistent, much easier.
How much faster is Nostrum?
Oh my god, a good chunk. I think there's a run, I think I do it in a race, where I kind of do Nostro for the first time. I think I've got it pulled up right here, actually. Let's see. Yeah, I save 33 seconds doing Nostro as opposed to Guildmaster in this run. It's the November 29th, 2016 run, a 45 seconds ahead after Nostro.
That is so huge.
Chunk.
But it seems weird to me because traveling from Litchfield Graveyard through the path and then teleporting back to Archons, right? Or I can't remember specifically.
Just to the guild.
The guild.
Yeah.
And then back to that place. That way you can spawn by the door. But I don't know. It seems weird that that movement followed by 2 teleporting and then the fight itself. The fight itself seems to be about the same. But then again, I watch all these runs on 2 times speed, so I guess I don't really know.
Right. No, the fight is immensely shorter. Specifically, another huge thing to keep in mind is that the Guildmaster cutscene, when you like kick him on the ground and it's hilarious, is not skippable, and that's a huge chunk of time.
That is fair.
Whereas Nostro dies more quickly. You can like one cycle him. You just inflame some undead and kill him before he goes invincible again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really fast. We only
I
have
forgot
to
that
walk
actually
halfway.
killing him.
Right. We only have to walk halfway across the prison path or whatever that place is called to do the map warping sort of deal. Yeah, it all kind of fell together.
When did we switch from real time to in-game time? Like, when was the auto splitter?
Ooh, I don't know about when.
You know what? I got a better idea. I'm going to filter all runs are shown, even obsoleted, and then I can't filter by time without loads. Okay. I'm gonna look for the oldest one. Looks like a year ago we're starting to see times with the timer. I have to find out specifically when, but it looks like it's about a year ago. The Symptom, that was 2017, February.
That's probably right. And that was an interesting sort of dilemma, because at first the auto splitter wasn't it also removed the fade in after you warp somewhere when it goes from black to into game. But now it doesn't remove that. That's included in the in-game time. The only thing that's not included is the RNG actual load screen, which is good. The problem was that it was so easy to warp somewhere and warp back, and it was so inconsequential because it didn't include. As soon as I went to my menu and clicked Guild Seal Go, the timer stopped, and there's like a good 4 to 5 second animation of like when you teleport. And so it compromised a few strats to the run, I think, to where it wasn't. Some strats could be done that disregarded some execution and some movement for the sake of the in-game timer, and you could wrong warp somewhere. Well, not an actual wrong warp. You could warp to the wrong place and make a huge mistake in the run, and it basically be inconsequential. And we decided, since the fade in is not RNG, that might as well just be in the game, and it actually helped with a lot of those issues, and made a lot of those ideas and strats less viable now that the fade in is included in the in-game timer. And so decided on that was a big dilemma, though.
Nice. Yeah, it's always weird whenever the in-game timer isn't like the way it should be. I run that Command and Conquer Generals game, and we have sort of like an impromptu makeshift auto splitter, and it doesn't work perfectly. Like, it gets the start right, but it does not get the end right. So I have to split, and there's an extra like 5 seconds on the start of the next timer, the next split, that I have to like constantly remember to remove in order to get my times accurate. But at least like it starts at the right time.
Right.
So it's not terrible, but it's just it's weird. I wish I could just leave it and let it go and do its thing. But there's also one mission where it does it too early, like by like 3 seconds. So I have to remember to do that too. But yeah. So auto splitters are finicky. But once you get it working, if you get it perfect, it's
Definitely. And it sucks that Fable's in-game time that's actually in like the stats is completely botched. And so a big argument was like, okay, if we want this to be true in-game time, then we should use the game's in-game timer, which means that anytime you're in the menu isn't counted, which means menuing is just trivial. And we all agree that that's just ruined, and plus you have to watch the credits at the end to get a true in-game time, and it's all just wacky. Yeah. So it became an accepted reality that, okay, we're using a custom timer, and the custom timer should benefit the best interest of the run and the health of the run and the viewers. So
Right.
it was a big long discussion.
I forget who it was. It was I think it was Giant Steps, or maybe it was Adam. No, wait. Hang on. Somebody had a run, I think it was Giant Steps, where he modded out the credit scene. Maybe it was Blasted. I forget exactly. Somebody modded out the credit scene so it would just play in like 1 second. And then they realized that it threw off the final timer, because apparently the credits are part of your in-game time.
Uh-huh.
Which boggles my mind.
It's broken. Totally broken. Dude, that sounds like a Blasted thing, maybe.
It's probably Blasted. I don't know why I thought it was Giant, but
I mean, he's usually the mod guy.
Is he really? Is he a smart modding man?
I think so. It's either Blasted or who's the other one? I didn't mean to sound disrespectful. Who's the other one? But the one who made the auto splitter, which is a huge contribution to the community.
Do you know his name?
It's I think his name is not the same in Discord as it normally is. Let me look. It's
Is it Shiftweave?
Yeah, it's Shiftweave, but I think
that's Blasted T.
Yeah, that's Blasted. Yeah.
He uses the same icon, so I'm assuming it's the same person.
Yeah, it is. So he made the auto splitter. He is mod man.
What are your thoughts on the future of Fable speedrunning?
This game or just Fable in general?
I meant TLC specifically, or both. Either one.
I was just going to say, because if they release a good Fable 4, like, I'm switching to that shit.
I hear you.
Running it for a while. But I think it's amazing to me that strats for TLC are still being found. The fact that I think there's still some hidden gold buried underneath. I don't know if it's going to be prison skip, but there's some hidden gold nuggets left to be found. As I don't think any of us, except maybe Blasted, has extensive knowledge of sort of code on a programming level to where we could identify some of those gold nuggets. But I think they'll keep revealing themselves, hopefully. And, you know, I've been running it for a long time, and there's still a good chunk of time I can save from these new strats. You know, if I play well and I don't make the mistakes I made in my world record, I can save probably 30 to 45 seconds. So it's still going, which is crazy. And I don't see it stopping until someone with extensive coding knowledge and better ability to sort of like bug hunt games than me says, you know, there's just no way you can break this part of the game. Like, I feel that way about prison skip. I think quest triggers and things that must be done in order to complete a quest is a huge roadblock and will probably never result in prison skip, because the rest of the game doesn't unlock unless you have a quest. The quest determines the game. It's not like Oblivion where I'm just at the end game now, you know, very linear. But hopefully just more small optimizations, if anything, still come around like they have been, like just saving and reloading the game in childhood to save 7 seconds because it's faster than running and it skips a cutscene. Like, I'm sure there's more of that stuff around. Look forward to finding it.
What are your thoughts on other strategies? Like, we have the early Aeons clip, or like the Bowerstone North trash jump.
Trash jump. They're really, really cool. I think Bowerstone North might, in like a tool assisted setting, have some worth. I know that Big Law likes to run early Sword of Aeons, and that's awesome. It's just I wish it was the optimal route. And I think it's, if anything, it's just an awesome tidbit of knowledge for us to have. Like, that was a momentous occasion when that was found out. It's still cool, but it's just unfortunate with Fable that the fights and the strength of your melee weapon is the least of our concerns for saving time. So having Sword of Aeons over the Master Greatsword, even though we don't have to buy, sell, and farm up money to get the Master Greatsword, you think that saves a lot of time. It just doesn't save time, because we kill enemies extremely fast already anyway. Like, the big advantage is, for Sword of Aeons, I believe, one of the big ones is being able to kill Twin Blade in one cycle, so that he doesn't have to, like, go back and do his walking around phase before he ground pounds twice. You can kill him on the first ground pound. But it just doesn't add up enough. You lose too much time getting summoned, going to the Chamber of Fate, getting underneath there, etc., etc. It's just unfortunate. And I don't even know if getting Soulless Greatsword via early Bowerstone North would even be worth it either, just because the main direction we need to head for time saves is in the more discrete, more discrete details and movement optimizations and sequence breaks, because our fights are already super, super optimized.
All right. Well, I think I've run out of questions. All
right.
I probably should have written out a list. I kind of did this off the cuff.
Oh no, don't worry.
Yeah. Any closing words? I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
yeah. I think that the future is very, very bright for classic WoW. I think once that comes out, we're going to... I'm just kidding. I want classic WoW really bad. No, I don't really have any closing words.
Okay.
I talk a lot of shit about Fable, and it makes me mad, but it's one of my childhood favorite games, and I always want the best for the run, especially if that means more competition, and Clean taking the record from me and shitting on my chest, and I look forward to shitting on him back.
There you go. That's what friends are all about.
Exactly. Just rub it around. Oh, God.
All right, man. Yeah, looking forward to seeing more Fable runs. You're starting to de-rust, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so
that's a process.
I will probably be seeing you on stream